So you guys are reading a book about Sam Walton, Mr.
Made in
Walmart,
America.
Mr. Walmart, right?
Yep.
So he has certainly created an empire for himself. I mostly work in small business, so I don't do a lot of corporate business to business communication, things like that. We work with large corporations, but we don't necessarily, they don't need us. We need them in the community. They're super important part of our community here. But in talking about business debt, so a lot of people and growth. So a lot of people plan a business. They've got a great strategic plan. They've got all of themselves together. If they're going to do a brick and mortar, they have their location, they have all their business licensing, they have all of their, structure together and how they're going to get rich and all the things. A lot of people don't plan for growth. And there have been businesses, many businesses that I've seen over my years in the entrepreneurial world, and then also in the corporate troubleshooting world, and now as the chamber executive, that have failed because they grew too fast. By a raise of hands, have you ever heard of that? I went out of business because I grew too fast. Yeah, just a few of you have heard of that. So yeah, I mean, you can grow too fast if you're not prepared for it. So the forecast for Windsor, how many of you, by show of hands, are planning on opening a business at some point in your life? Yeah, a few of you. Okay. What are the rest of you guys going to do? You're going to go to business school, get a degree, and then run the world, right? So there's a lot of ways that you can use a business strategy in your career, not just owning a business, but for you entrepreneurs out there, it's super important that you plan for that growth. So you can be, so say you ran a print shop. Okay. Just for example, you have a print shop, you have a ton of corporate business, you have a lot of local business. And now all of a sudden, Windsor's population has grown by 50% in a short amount of time, and you weren't ready for it because guess what? You're still the only print shop in town. So now you have an abundance of business, like you have too much business coming at you. Guess what you don't have and what you forgot to plan for? You didn't expand your square footage so that you have more room to service your customers. You didn't buy the equipment that updates and upgrades your facility so that everybody can come in and get what they need, digitally printed it, the brochures, maps, signs, all of that stuff for your printing needs. And you don't have the staff. So what happens to local restaurants that close? And unfortunately, we've just had 3 local restaurants close in the past several months. What happens sometimes is that your business experiences a lot of growth, but you can't find the staff. What does this have to do with debt? It has a lot to do with it, because if you see a huge growth factor in your business and you can't keep up, do you know what that is? The growth factor means money, right? I mean, how does a business grow? It garners more business. You bring more business into what you're doing and you get paid for it. So whether you're an employee of a company or whether you own the company, either way, if you don't prepare for that, you can surely go out of business. So I think that probably in Sam's book and in many other business books, you'll learn that planning strategies are the best. I mean, you plan for the best, prepare for the worst, right? And that saying will take you a long way in the business world, because plan for the best. Yay, I have 100 new customers. What does that look like if you don't have the staff to support it, the room to support it, the supplies to support it, and all the things, right? So how many people in the room are going to be an entrepreneur that goes out and gets a business loan to launch your business? Anyone?
Okay, bank
Nope.
finances, bank finance loan. Who's going to do it?
You're going to get a loan to start your business?
They're all going to bootstrap it.
Trust fund babies, right? Trust fund babies. So unless you're sitting on $1 million or you think your parents are going to bankroll you, which rarely ever happens, and oftentimes you should not do business with family members for various reasons, you have to get a loan to start your business, or you have to go and work a job and save enough, or work a job and do a side hustle to create extra income in order to fund your dream, right? Because a lot of people that are in drive-through windows. I mean, I even ask, because I'm just a friendly person. I talk a lot. You can tell. I'll go to a drive-through window and I go, "Hi, honey, how'd you get this job? Do you like it? Do you like working here? Are these good people?" And sometimes I want to ask them, "Hey, was this your dream? What are you doing? What are you doing working here? How much do you get paid? And do you enjoy it? And are you getting paid enough to make your life work?" And all the questions, because that's why we work. That's why we have jobs. is to finance our life, our family stuff, our friend stuff, buying stuff, because everybody's coming at you to buy things, right? So a solid step-by-step plan from A to Z is going to get you to your success, and it's going to get you where you want to be. Whether you want to be a business strategist and teach people how to do that, or if you want to be in finance to help people map out the financial scope of what the investment's going to be to the ROI. If you're in retail or if you have a service industry that you want to work in, all of those things are going to factor in. So I always suggest to people, don't capitalize yourself. Try to raise the capital yourself. Try not to go into debt. But if you have to, and you have a really good idea and the timing's right and the situation's right, and the perfect storm comes together for you to open that small business or for you to launch that perfect business career, then going into debt, depending on the return on investment, is not a bad deal. Jeff, you want to chime in on that? How do you feel about it?
I think it's a great idea. Can you just tell us a story that illustrates that principle and maybe explain what is a return on investment? We haven't spent a lot of time on that.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of people, return on investment is used, and it's ROI. So when you hear somebody say, "What's the ROI?" Sometimes you're asking for money from someone. You're saying, "Hey, will you invest in my business? I make candles in my spare time." Not me personally. This is just a story to illustrate. So I make candles in my spare time, Mr. Banker, Mr. Relative, Mr. Grant Writer, and I want to take my business to the next level. I'm just selling to family and friends right now. I've put some things out on Shopify or on the internet to sell, but I really want to step it up. And what I need to build a website, and that's going to cost $500. And I'm just throwing out some metrics for you. Or I need to buy more supplies because I'd like to go into wholesale and get an order from Target. I want Target to carry my candles in their store, right? Well, Target is going to call you and go, "Hey, we want 50 million candles for our global market, and you need to produce them. And then we want to pay what's called a net 30 or net 60 invoice." If you don't know what that means and you haven't spent some time there, a net 30 or net 60 means you don't get paid until you deliver those candles 30 to 60 days after you've delivered the candles. Well, candles aren't free to make. You got to buy the wax and the wicks and the little things that hold the deal down in the whatever container you're going to do. And you got to buy the container and the labels and all the things, the boxes or whatever, packaging, you got to ship them. So all of those things are expenses, and they're expensive. So how are you going to create this 50 million candle order for Target if you don't have the funds? So you would be talking to a banker, somebody at SBDC, Small Business Development Center, that can align you with a loan provider who can give you, it's called not a collateral loan. I've forgotten the category of loan. I'm so sorry. But it's a specific type of loan to help you manufacture your product, because the ROI at the end, if you charge $10 or charge $1 per candle, is going to be $50 million, right? And we're just using some figures. So you show them the ROI. They say, "Okay, how much is it going to cost for you to make those candles?" And you say, "Well, I'm dropping my retail price from 100 million down to, they're going to charge 100 million. I'm selling it to them for 50 million. It costs me 25 million to produce it." Okay. So that gives you a 25% ROI, which is a 25% net return. Got it? Is everybody following, or are you just like falling asleep right now?
Totally got it.
Okay. So your loan, you wouldn't want 50 million because that's the order. You wouldn't want $50 million. You would want $25 million to produce those candles. So that's what you would go in and do. In a situation like that, I would highly, highly recommend going into a short-term debt to get that order, knowing they're going to pay. Now, at the front end of that deal, you would say, Target, you might go at them and say, "Hey, you're a global industry and we don't have that kind of cash, but we really want to do business. Could you put down a 10% retainer on the order?" At that point, Target may or may not come to you. They may go, "No, we're Target. We don't care. We can buy candles somewhere else. See you later." Or they may say, yeah, we really like your product. We believe in what you do, and we're going to give you a 10% retainer. So at that point, it would be $5 million. So they give you 5 million, then you wouldn't need 25, right? You'd only need 20 for your production costs, because you would take that 5 million they gave you and you would put it into your production costs and borrow the other 20 to make those candles and get that order out. Everybody's like, I'm going to go home and learn how to make candles because this sounds great, Kate. I'm doing it. So that's how that kind of debt works. I have a personal experience with a restaurant owner that I absolutely love. They're good people. They're great at owning restaurants. What they ran into was not being able to find enough help to service their customers. They went through managers, bartenders, servers. I don't know if you guys have been anywhere but McDonald's lately, or, Burger King, but there's a real crisis in the service industry. So people don't want to go in and work, and it's great money. It's good side hustle for you guys that don't know. Servers make tips, and they make typically $60 to $100 an hour on an average $50 ticket. So because you're serving several tables at a time, and you typically get anywhere from 15 to 20% of the bill as a tip. So it's a great industry. And I'm not 100% sure what's affecting that industry right now, why people just don't want to go and work in a restaurant or give service. But it's a great side hustle. It's a great way to get yourself through college, for those of you that are going to choose the college route. So it's a great side hustle. But for whatever reason, these people could not staff their restaurant, and they literally went out of business. If they had needed at some point to get over that hump, and because they really just needed time, right? And it's hard to buy time. You trade time for money. Anybody in the room have a job? Do you guys work? Raise your hand and tell me if you work. Do you work?
We have like half a dozen or so that are working.
Okay, cool. So if you're working, you understand that you're trading your time for their money, and they're putting a value on that, right? So should this restaurant owner have diversified, number one, their menu? Because I know that was always a problem, and I actually talked to them about that. Diversify your menu. Make people want to come here every day of the week, not just when they're in the mood for your particular type of food, right? So they never diversified their menu. They also could not find people to work in their restaurant. And so they gave up. They literally just gave up. So that could be another reason why you would go into debt. If they would have had a strategic plan for recovery, they would have borrowed money, given people like you guys incentives to work there, and said, hey, I'll supplement some college tuition for you if you'll work in my restaurant for a year, full-time or part-time or whatever, or these hours, or work in my kitchen or whatever. So there's real creative ways that you can supplement your business without going into, per se, what I would say debt. That could have kept them in business, number one, and it could have just been a real creative way to kind of navigate those deep waters. Unfortunately, that didn't work. They closed, and I'm really sad about that. But so those are a couple of illustrations on why I would suggest to go into debt. You can get grants that you can pass along to college students or kids that are headed to college. There's a lot of educational grants that are available that you could actually offer through your business to incentivize people to work there. And that was something that they just never did. They didn't diversify their menu, and they didn't incentivize their workers. And sometimes that's something that is like, super important. So
Kate, let's finish with this. Let me see who has questions for Kate first before I have one last thing. Any questions you guys have for Kate? So we've been looking at how do we measure the economy, like the United States economy. And we talk about GDP, and we've been looking at the stock market and stuff like that. How do you measure our local business community and our local economy?
We have metrics. We work with the town a lot, and they give us metrics on things like tourism, tax base, what the revenues are coming in from our retail, what the revenues are coming in from our restaurants. So the town of Windsor is very tapped into that, especially their economic department. I just awarded the executive director award from the Chamber of Commerce to the economic development department for the town of Windsor, because they're made up of 3 dynamic women who really have their finger on the pulse of what's going on in the business community. The Chamber of Commerce is a membership-based community, And people often say that if you're not a member of the chamber, but you own a business, you don't exist if you're not a member of the chamber. I don't necessarily think that's true. There are businesses that don't choose to be members of the chamber that absolutely do exist in Windsor, but the chamber is a stronghold in the community. We create educational opportunities, financial opportunities, marketing opportunities for small businesses. So the way that we measure that is we go to the town, we ask for metrics. We go, hey, is so-and-so doing a good job? Are they in trouble? Because what our job is as a chamber is to rush in and support. We funnel that information down to our membership and we say, hey, if anybody's looking for a place to hold a great party, so-and-so's restaurant is a great place to do that. Or if anyone's looking for a great place to hold a meeting, so-and-so has a boardroom available. And things like that. You in financial trouble, or do you need wealth management help, accounting? Oh my gosh, we have so many business categories. Do you need a lawyer? Do you need a doctor? Do you need a realtor? So we have those resources from the chamber, but basically how we measure those metrics is we go to the town and they've got special AI in place, honestly, that shows exactly where people are at what time, and it runs through their cell phones, I believe. So it's a very good metric and a good base point for us to tell, to be able to see what the health of our local economy is.
So if you had to say how the economy's doing, thumbs up, sideways, or down, what would you say our local economy, where are we at?
I'd say the local economy is still thumbs up. I would say the national economy is about like this and going that way. Because I don't, without getting into politics at all, I watch the stock market a lot. And I don't believe everything I hear that's being reported to us. I actually watch numbers and metrics there. And I see what's happening in my own spending habits and the spending habits of our 500 plus members. They talk a lot about actually where they're spending their money and things like that. So I believe that our local economy is very vibrant and healthy. Northern Colorado seems to have a little bubble around it, and we stay pretty safe up here. Lots of educated people. So you guys keep going to school, keep educating yourselves. Lots of educated people up here in Northern Colorado. We have 3 colleges within, an hour, and many, many junior colleges. There's just there's a lot going on up here. And I think we're in a really vibrant space. Other areas of the country are not doing so well. But yeah, as far as Windsor, we are way thumbs up.
Well, we appreciate your time, Kate, and your expertise. Thank you for what you're doing for our local economy as well.
Yeah, I'm loving our local economy, and you guys are part of that. So keep spending your money here. Amazon is the devil. Can I say that, Jeff?
You just did.
Everybody loves Amazon because it's so instant, right? It's at your fingertips, but it does hurt our local economy and that we don't always get those tax dollars. So make sure that you spend your money in our little boutiques and in our cute shops and in our local restaurants, because those all provide tax base for the town, and that keeps our economy vibrant and healthy.